Bitcoin is at $123,000. Guys and girls, good morning from the beautiful Saint-Tropez. Today we're going to be opening some positions on altcoins because let me just say, I think Bitcoin pumping fantastic. We predicted it beautifully on this channel throughout various different patterns. So massive congrats to all of you. I've been trying to shout at the top of my lungs to show you that Bitcoin is in fact going to pump. So make sure to take advantage of it. I really hope that you did so. First of all, congratulations. We've been opening positions together on Bitcoin specifically since $77,000, which I think is absolutely beautiful. But of course, the main question everybody has is because unfortunately most people miss out on these things, even if we talk about them for so long, what is going to happen to Bitcoin now that we've reached $123,000? What is going to happen to altcoins? Are altcoins going to start their banana hella altcoin season? So let me first answer the Bitcoin question. And before we get into the trading and opening positions, I highly recommend you to go to the first link of the description of today's video to Weeks, where with this link you can still get, until the end of this month, free 400 USDT when you sign up, deposit $2,000, transfer it into your futures account, keep it there for 3 days, and boom, you will get the bonus in your account to go and open positions with us. And if you go to and wait for the final video in the end screen, that will show you how you can do the entire bonus claiming from start to finish. And this was from the description of a video that I made actually called "The Bitcoin Pump is Not Over," approximately 2 days ago when we were still below $120,000. Okay, so what will happen to Bitcoin now? Well, obviously, patterns like the ones that we've been talking about for the past 2 months, like the inverse head and shoulders here, the Bitcoin bull flag here. Then you have the greater inverse head and shoulders on the weekly time frame when you go to the previous cycle. These things, like these massive patterns, just like the huge Bitcoin bull flag that we experienced last year summer, like these things don't happen so often. And when they do take place, such obvious and such large-scale patterns on macro timeframes, like these will make you a lot of money because they don't happen so often. And if they form on large timeframes, then their credibility and the chances of them playing out in a very good way increase in the sense of, okay, how much pumpage are we going to see now? So yeah, these are like once in a lifetime opportunities. Thankfully, we were capitalizing on Bitcoin very well. And I don't think this is the end for Bitcoin. So many people doubt the M2 money supply. And they still doubt it to this day. And here on this channel and over on my Twitter accounts, I've been trying to just tell you that 90% of the time, Bitcoin follows M2 money supply, right? Wherever liquidity goes, however much the dollar devalues, Bitcoin follows that 90% of the time since the past, like Bitcoin's inception. You've been following global liquidity. The uptrend has been very similar. And then you go into the past year and a half, when you got the Bitcoin ETFs, and you can see that the correlation between the M2 money supply and the spot price of Bitcoin with the 84-day offsets is actually 92.4%. And there is no indicator in the world that will give you an accuracy of 92.4% when you're trading. Like, that's incredible odds if you want to follow just that specific indicator. M2 money supply in the past 1.5 years has given you 92% correlation with an 84-day delay. There is no indicator in the world that will give you a 92% win rate. It's impossible, specifically over such a long and tested time of 1.5 years in relative to Bitcoin. So you need to follow M2 money supply. Wherever M2 money supply goes, the price of Bitcoin will follow. So the majority reason of why I say this pump is not over is because the M2 money supply, yes, a couple of weeks ago, it was pointing into $135,000 to $140,000, which I think will be reached by the end of August. It's getting much closer now, and it kind of feels unbelievable on how close we've become to reaching that M2 money supply target of 135 to 140. I think we will go there. That's to me, that's definitive. But what will happen after? The greater inverse head and shoulders is a target of $190,000. Retail isn't here. There's not much liquidity piled to the upside. And all those factors say, yes, we will go to 135 to 140 like we've been mentioning, but it is possible that we extend that rally perhaps into 180 to 190, maybe even 200. But that time will tell. We cannot be as certain as I am for 135 to 140 as I can be with the probability that we go to 200K. We will evaluate that as time passes. But the chances of that happening are increasing every single day as the total amount of money being printed increases every single day also. Okay, let's say you didn't have open a Bitcoin position with us. Let's say you've not been longing with us here over on Weeks for the past 2 months. Then what should you do? Well, for Bitcoin specifically, maybe we should wait a little bit to see if we close that CME gap at 114 to enter into new Bitcoin positions. I would definitely have a limit order at 114, 114,250, which you can open limit 114,250 and put in a small trade to have an open long position to get into Bitcoin, just in case I can't put it because I have a bunch of limit orders, but just in case if Bitcoin closes that CME gap, you want to open a trade, I think at 114, which is the Bitcoin CME gap. But, right, I think the next massive trading opportunity is not Bitcoin, but altcoins, because Bitcoin is pumped to $122,000, up like 20% in the past week and a half, but altcoins are not showcasing the same amount of performance. So where I think the most money is going to be made at this point is actually altcoins, because the catch-up trade in altcoins, I'm trying to find you the tweet, I think the catch-up trade in altcoins is going to be really, really fantastic, and the most amount of money that you're going to make is going to be from getting into altcoin positions while they've still not caught up with Bitcoin. This exact same catch-up trade, if you want to call it, took place 2.5 months ago, and it took altcoins like a couple of weeks to reach where Bitcoin had reached, and that we documented. I think the same will happen just on a larger scale, and some altcoins that I'm looking into is Ethereum, which I will now open a markets Ethereum position just to be a little bit more in the market with a 10%, just 10% of my trading account. Let's go open long, confirm. Nothing too significant, but I genuinely do believe that Ethereum can reach $4,000 and way more beyond in this specific cycle. We have Ethereum treasury companies now emerging, if you want to look at it from a fundamental perspective. But I think the breakout of this greater Ethereum inverse head and shoulders pattern is just starting. So if you want to open a long position on any altcoin, I think Ethereum is a fantastic option, and you can do that using Weeks, where you can get 400 USDT, where you can trade with, and that's not going to be even your own money. You're risking the exchange's money. So I think Ethereum is really, really great. I think it's a fantastic option. It has its ETF. The ETF has been doing phenomenally well. And if you're looking at other altcoin alternatives, then ones that will be getting their own ETFs in the next couple of weeks. Dogecoin, that bounced from beautiful lines of support not so long ago. I think Dogecoin is a very good one. We long Dogecoin almost at the exact bottom. I would be considering to open positions on Dogecoin. I would be going into Link and opening positions on Chainlink. I think these are great ones to be in the market. Even Spot, if you're buying, I think they're fantastic. Chainlink, I'm actually going to open a market position on, because I want to be on in Chainlink. I think Chainlink will do really, really well. So confirm, open Chainlink. I will be in a Chainlink position. XRP, we can have a look at XRP. XRP is now at $2.9. We opened an XRP position when we were just breaking out from this massive, massive bullish pennant. And the target of this is going to be the previous all-time high at 3.3. So I am actually going to add a little bit more. I mean, I don't want to. You know what? I'm not going to open. I'm not going to add more to this position, because I think the breakout has definitely already happened. I'm going to put my stop loss to break even now over on Weeks, which you can do just like that. And I will show you the chart of XRP very quickly. XRP, this was what we were looking at. And yeah, we got into the breakout trade. I wish I put in much more money than I have put in my personal portfolio in this Weeks account. But it is what it is. Sometimes, sometimes you're going to miss out, and that's okay. Not every single trade you're going to be able to catch. But why we were so bullish on XRP when we were breaking out at $2.3 was because, XRP formed a huge bullish pennant. If you go to XRP USD, you'll be able to see it more clearly. But, XRP formed, Coinbase is not going to be XRP USD Bitstamp. Yeah, there you go. So XRP formed a huge bullish pennant over such a long period of time. And then we were now getting this new bullish sort of bull flaggy pennant that was taking place. And we were like, okay, is this going to be the next leg to the upside for XRP holders? And it turns out that it was, and it is. And it's probably going to continue pumping. So I just want to congratulate you. If you did open XRP positions, then you are doing great. And actually the final altcoin that I want to open a position on is going to be Litecoin. Litecoin is getting its ETF. When you go to the Litecoin USD chart, you will notice that we also have a similar massive bullish pennant, just like XRP. and that's why I want to be in a Litecoin position. I'm going to do a 10% long on Litecoin. Let's click confirm, open long. I don't want to be cross-combined. Let's do isolated. Confirm, I'm going to do 5x leverage for this position. Click confirm. Must be cross. Okay, we can do shared. We can do isolated cross margin, confirm, that's fine. We'll do 5x leverage, that's okay, confirm. And I'm gonna do a 10% positioning here. Open long, great. Okay, so there we go, we have some new positions today. We have a link position, which I'm going to actually change now because I don't want it to be, link already isn't, we've made some profits, but I'm gonna do flash close, because I don't want to do a 20x lever trade on Chainlink. I'm going to, let me just check. So let's do the same. Let's do a 5x position. I don't really want to do a 20x on Chainlink. Link USDT, let's have a look here. So let's go, no, we don't want to do that. We can go 5x leverage, confirm, and do 10% here, 10%, and we click open long. Great. So there we go. Now we have our link position once again adjusted. We opened the link position, we opened the Litecoin position, the rest were there anyway. So there we go, guys. That's pretty much it for today's video. I don't want to take too much more of your time. I just think the altcoin catch-up trade will be pretty immense. Guys, unfortunately my video cuts while I was recording, but what I was trying to say is altcoins will do very well. Bitcoin will likely continue to do well. Short-term drop is possible, but you know, I really like the momentum that we have here. I think altcoins will play the catch-up trade. And if there is anything that happens further on in the market, then I will be updating you here on this channel, as always, and also the Moon Show in a few hours' time. So guys, take care, have a beautiful day, and bye-bye.